Joining me is former tennis professional Sam Groth, who's now Victoria's Shadow Minister for Tourism, Sport and Events. And I must say, he's been really making hay with this one, very effective. Sam Groth, great to speak to you. Are you convinced by Anthony Albanese's answer today that no one in this government was told? Complete surprise. First he heard was when it was announced.
Well, Andrew, thank you for having me on tonight. And I think no one is convinced by the whole story around the Commonwealth Games as a whole. It seems like the government, Daniel Andrews, took this to the election in 2022 as a promise, a vote grabber from regional Victoria. And it seems the wool's been pulled over everyone's eyes, possibly including the federal government. But I find it hard to believe that they allocated zero money in the last federal budget with the Games less than 1,000 days away.
Yep, and like I say, the Abbott government gave $150 million to the Brisbane Commonwealth Games 4 years ahead, 3 years ahead of this one, nothing in this budget. I think they knew something was up. Now, does it actually matter if the Albanese government was warned weeks or months ago that the Games would be cancelled? What hangs off this?
Well, I think there's more than that question just to answer from both the Albanese government, but specifically here in Victoria from Daniel Andrews, but also from the Chief Minister in charge of the Commonwealth Games delivery in Jacinta Allen. I think there's questions right across the board. How did the Daniel Andrews Labor government only 8 weeks ago deliver a budget that included $2.6 billion, the full funding for the Commonwealth Games at the time, and 8 weeks later, the Games blow out to what started at $6 billion at his press conference 48 hours ago to $7 billion 3 sentences later? I mean, there's so many questions. I mean, you look back at the report that was released today from 2019 that has come out and said this wasn't feasible, that if you were going to run a regional Commonwealth Games, you had to aim for 2034 to be able to do it properly. And the government so far has tried to blame everybody else but themselves. They've blamed the department, they've blamed consultants, just a little bit of responsibility. But you just have to question whether anybody in the Daniel Andrews government will start to take any responsibility. And you heard our opposition leader, John Pizzuto, today. Jacinta Allen, there is no ministerial responsibility here. She's resigned tonight as the Commonwealth Games Minister. Of course, the Commonwealth Games in Victoria no longer exist, but what she should have been doing today is resigning her position from Cabinet completely.
I think I wouldn't take the spotlight off Daniel Andrews because, look, to me, this has got all the hallmarks like of his decision about the suburban rail loop, right? He got a tight little cabal of friends, mates, back scratchers to say, hey, let's do this, back of the paper, envelope kind of thing. Let's promise this. $50 billion, turns out $125 billion, if it ever gets completed, because he didn't consult. I wonder whether that's exactly the same story with the Commonwealth Games, Oh, let's go and do this, didn't consult. Then turns out, bang, it's going to cost, with his grandiose vision of spreading 5 different venues and all sorts of things. He recommended not to do it, recommended this is the wrong time, ignored it all because he doesn't take advice.
No, he thinks he knows absolutely everything, doesn't he, the Premier Daniel Andrews? But also the narrative that they've been trying to spin over the last couple of days is the Commonwealth Games, they were desperate. They desperately needed the Victorian government to bail this out. They were begged to do so. I mean, it turns out the government sent a junket over, led by Daniel Andrews and Martin Pakula at the time, and actually presented their vision for a regional Commonwealth Games. They knew exactly what they were getting themselves into. They knew exactly what the costings were going to be. They used it as a tool to win votes in those regional cities that they so desperately needed to win the November 22 election. And now they sit here and they're pulling the rug out from underneath those communities. And yes, they're talking about delivering the infrastructure and everything that was going to come along with the Games. They no longer have a March 26 deadline to do so. Will those costs be put in? Will the cities get actually a say in what legacy is delivered? I mean, there's so many questions still up in the air with the way this government is acting around this. But to be honest, there needs to be some responsibility. There needs to be questions asked. I mean, I think the biggest question to come out of all of this is who was responsible? And the second one is, where does a figure of $7 billion come from 8 weeks after the budget was delivered?
One knows.
The Commonwealth Games Association.
No one knows.
No.
No, they say it's
they were told it wasn't going to be that much,
up,
only in June.
Have we seen one single receipt that indicates this? And by the way, Jacinta Allen has been already put in the gun by Labor as the fall guy, just as Jenny Mikakos was put in the gun as the fall guy there for Daniel Andrews' quarantine hotel disaster during the pandemic. Sam Groth, thank you so much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it.